welcome everybody to this week's episode of Too Sweet Converse. I am Nico. Let's get it going, guys.
Card.
Steve-O here.
Guys?
I am EJV, aka the earthquake lookalike, according to some troll on Twitter, but I digress.
Yeah, let's not.
The troll's right. The troll's right.
Yeah,
Sorry,
and you know what? We're in full force if any trolls do try to do any wisecracks. So you're on notice on video now. So, but getting to the point, we're doing a special Anime Central edition of Too Sweet Converse this weekend, and actually it's interesting because we're filming this Sunday and it's a little past 1 o'clock, and that's generally when the WWE Cosplay Day shoots at Anime Central are to take place at. So generally we would be doing a photo shoot. Unfortunately, with circumstances beyond our control, we cannot. But we're about to talk about some good Acen memories as well as some other fun wrestling talk this edition. And starting things off, we're going to do a short segment on big news in the WWE with one Becky Lynch, who has announced pregnancy. So we'll start it off with EJV. You want to share your thoughts on the whole Becky pregnancy and her relinquishing the title to Asuka?
Yeah, first of all, of course, we here at Too Sweet Cosplay want to say congratulations to Becky and Seth Rollins on this wonderful news. Wish them nothing but the best, and especially during this difficult time with COVID-19 running rampant throughout the world, we hope that the pregnancy goes without a hitch. To me, I thought they did a good job at pulling this off, especially when it came to the whole presenting of the title. I mean, in my opinion, there was a missed opportunity. CM Punk talked about it on WWE Backstage. Yeah. I know Nico is more tuned into that, so I'll have him talk more about that when it gets to him. But for me personally, I'm just the way they presented it off. I thought it was really good. I really thought that Asuka, she didn't really know about it at all. That's what was the report coming out, but she had no idea that was going to happen, and that Becky was going to announce that she was pregnant. She only let a little small inner circle, no pun intended, people know that she was pregnant. So to see the genuine shock on Asuka's face only added to the moment, and made it even more emotional and more special. So, in closing, just, I thought it was good. Maybe there could have been some improvements in the way it was presented, maybe. But overall, happy with the result. And, of course, congrats to Becky and Seth. And we wish them all the best.
All right. Who would like to take this next?
I'll go. But I was going to say that, I couldn't be any more happier for Becky. I mean, it's crazy that just like that, and she was on top of the world in the women's division right now, longest reigning women's champion on Raw, and now that she's going to conquer a new challenge of trying to be a mom, especially in this difficult time. But I really enjoyed the segment that that she did on Raw with Asuka. I felt like it was very genuine, just to pass the title along to her. And, I felt like with Asuka's reaction, I thought that was just nothing. It wasn't scripted. It was just, just pure, happiness for the most part. But I just felt like that, for the most part, it was good for Becky, and, congrats to her and Seth for, on this new venture. So that's pretty much my take on that.
Very nice. Nico, what's your take, my man?
To reiterate what everyone is saying, first of all, Becky, Seth, Rebecca, Colby, breaking the fourth wall there. Congratulations. The news is pretty awesome. If you ever get a chance to interact with Becky Lynch or Seth Rollins out in public, I've been pretty blessed and fortunate to do that multiple times. They are two of the nicest people ever. I said it in my Facebook post. I think they are going to be amazing parents. Everything happens in life for a reason. I'm going to assume that this pregnancy was not planned. But the thing that was so cool about it was the genuine feel-good moment. Right now in the world, we're at a time of uncertainty. Still, we've been dealing with this whole coronavirus COVID-19 pandemic for the past couple months now, and we are still in a bit of uncertainty of what's going to happen next. With pro wrestling being one of the few things that we get that's live on a weekly basis, to have a feel good, genuine moment that happened between Becky and Asuka, I felt, it was really good. It was really wholesome, and it was great. However, to what E was alluding earlier, Mr. CM Punk, who is a pretty good friend of mine, mentioned on WWE Backstage that an opportunity was missed. I sort of agree with him. Now, I'm not saying that, uh, what Asuka could have done, like kind of what Punk suggested of her spitting miss, maybe that wasn't the best idea on account of the pandemic we're dealing with right now. But I still wish they could have done something to where, oh crap, Becky is gone after being on top of the entire wrestling world for 20 months and changing the game, but at the same time, um, now Asuka's kind of like, okay, Asuka's the champion, but what's next? What is she immediately going to start being heel again on Monday, or like is she now all of a sudden a babyface after being a heel for the past couple months? Like, what do we do here? The whole women's division, especially on the Raw side, but I think the entire women's division in general in WWE is in limbo because the man is going to become the mom.
Very nice. Yeah, my thoughts, like not to be a jackass or nothing, but in some small way, I do wish he did drop it to Shayna Baszler at WrestleMania or something before they went off. I mean, she deserves the time off, and I'm very glad she's going to be a mother. That's some great stuff there, bringing a new child to the world. And I've met Becky also. She was a very, very nice lady when I met her. But yeah, other than that, other than a small nitpick, because I prefer people to actually drop titles rather than relinquish, as long as it can be controlled.
Or not even that. And not even spitting of the miss like CM Punk kind of recommended on WWE Backstage, but they could have did something because people need to understand this. Wrestling fans need to understand this. Becky Lynch is not coming back until the earliest 2022. If you think it's any sooner than 2022, you're crazy. I'm not going to call you stupid because who knows, but you're crazy. If Becky decides to come back, the earliest is probably going to be 2022. The baby, from what I understand, according to news reports and everything, isn't due until December of this year. By the time, her body heals physically, mentally, if she wanted to come back, who knows? Maybe motherhood will change her whole perspective on life, and that's fine. She's earned that right. There honestly isn't nothing else for Becky Lynch to do in the WWE except maybe a one-on-one match with Ronda Rousey. But other than that, there's nothing. She accomplished it all in a 20-month span, not to mention everything else on top of what she accomplished before she became the man. I just wish they would have done something to where, since Becky is leaving, that kind of does give a reason to say, oh, if she does come back, all right, now here we go, because we still have this story from way back when, whether it's maybe Asuka doing something to Becky and taking the title, or maybe in the coming weeks, Charlotte can start stealing the man gimmick and say, hey, that was my father's, and start doing it as like a little jab, but something not to be mean or disrespectful or vicious, but something to where when the time does come, if Becky does want to return, there's a story already there that she can immediately jump into. And then it gives the fan of like, oh, Becky's coming back. All right, now here we go. You get what I'm trying to explain here? I know I'm all over the place, but it's just
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I mean, in the end, it'll be, who knows when Becky will return. Maybe 2022, the very earliest, late 2021. I don't know. That's something to be answered in the future. But I mean, I'm glad Asuka's champion. I didn't think she'd have a chance last week at Money in the Bank, but I'm glad she's now not only the Money in the Bank winner, but also the new Raw Women's Champion. So I'm excited to see where that goes with her. I hope everything goes well with Becky and Seth. I mean, maybe, like I said, maybe they could have done something where Becky loses, but it's not too huge a deal. And I'd rather they be safe than risk any bumps that might cause injury.
Exactly.
If anything, we get a future Bears fan and Bulls fan in the making there. So I'm totally fine with that.
Definitely. So the next topic is something that we haven't explored in any previous episodes before, because we're a wrestling group, but we're also a cosplay group. So that's another big part of us. So we're going to talk about our cosplay experiences in general. We all have varying degrees of cosplay experience, and we have all started at different times. So we want to kind of let you all, the viewers, know a bit more about our experiences. So starting off this one, I'd like Wildcard to share some of your experiences.
Okay, wow. All right, where do I even begin with this? I'll see if I can I'll see if I can cliff note this as much as I can. Because
we can spend a whole show just on this.
Exactly. I swear. I mean, I know you guys have like experiences too. But I mean, this is kind of like, I have.
This is your wheelhouse.
Yes. Thank you. I was gonna say this is kind of like my wheelhouse here. Okay. So I started going to cons, I'd say about 2011. I think Wizard World was my first con, and I just went as a casual goer. I'm in love with the scene. And then I started going to started cosplaying in 2014, I believe, was the first year. My first cosplay was Ryu from the video game Street Fighter, and then it just kind of just grew. I've been doing this for a while, and I still, this thing never gets old for me. I mean, because cosplaying has been something that I like to do in my spare time when given the opportunity. I've done like different genres before, and it's just the con scene is just like, once you get started, you can't stop. So I mean, especially with Anime Central, it was supposed to happen this weekend, but obviously, it didn't happen, with the situation that we're in at the moment. So that would have been like, amazing time to go, because you see like all these different cosplays from, different genres, anime particularly, but you see a lot of different genres outside of anime too, Marvel, DC, wrestling, video games, and I just feel like that, in this the world that we're living in right now, it's kind of unfortunate that cons aren't really happening right now, but in the end, we just gotta play it safe and just be patient, because I feel like at some point it will eventually get back to some sort of normalcy with it. So, but I figured that I got a lot more to say, but I don't want to keep you guys from sharing your experiences. So I guess I can pass the baton off to whoever.
Let me go real quick fast, because my laptop might die soon, and then I'll quickly transfer over to my phone.
No problem.
But hopefully, just so we can get my portion of the segment in. I first started cosplaying, I want to say about 2014 officially, maybe 2015. I started going to cons in about 2013 is when I started going to cons. No, I take that back. My first Comic-Con was 2014. I always wanted to go, just never did. But my first one was Wizard World. And I started seeing everyone in their cosplay and outfits, and I thought that was super cool. But I've always been in the mindset, if I'm going to go to a con, I want to spend the majority of my money on the experience. Now, I see everyone do extravagant cosplays, and I think that's very cool. Andy, you're freaking Johnny Cage. is awesome. That is what you were when I met you for the very first time at a Becky Lynch panel, no less. Your Johnny Cage was pretty awesome. That's why we immediately clicked. So when I see extravagant cosplayers, very cool. I immediately want to take a picture with them and just say hello. It's pretty awesome. My first cosplay in general that I did, I didn't even mean to do it, but I sort of cosplayed as Bray Wyatt at that exact con. Bray Wyatt was doing a meet and greet at Wizard World in 2014. He had showed up late. I stayed so I could meet him. And by the time he got to the meet and greet or whatever, and it turned out we were both wearing the exact same Hawaiian shirt. I don't have a picture with me to share with you guys, but I'll post it on our social media accounts later today. It's pretty awesome, and it was pretty kind of a cool moment. So that was my first sort of cosplaying experience there as Bray. My favorite cosplays that I've done are CM Punk, of course, or at least my best rendition. Obviously, I'm very limited with my options, but I try to make everything unique, and I try to do things with stuff that I have at home and not really try to spend more money on stuff for like cosplay, since my mindset is for cons to just go spend money at the con and have fun with your friends that way.
Very nice. EJV, how about you? Let's hear your experiences.
Well, my first real convention was the same one Nico was at. It was World 2014. I dressed up as Bray Wyatt as well. And then that's when the bug really got in me that I wanted to start cosplaying even more so than ever. It just became something I began to get obsessed with. And I didn't really, my next cosplay after that was Kevin Owens, and it became a hit with a lot of the people, especially at WWE events. Whenever I go to, especially when I go to WWE events like pay-per-views and stuff, I always get compliments. But then I started exploring over the next couple of years. I started to explore more New Japan and Ring of Honor cosplays with the debuts of Tama Tonga and, of course, probably my most famous cosplay over the past couple of years, the villain Marty Scurll. Which, quick little story here to kind of talk about our experience, was I went and met Marty twice. Once in 2018 at StarCast, the very first one coinciding with All In, and in 2019 at C2E2. And that was Marty actually took a photo of me in my cosplay and posted it to his Twitter, which is one of the coolest things I've ever experienced, which is to see my photos circulating on his page and all over wrestling Twitter was absolutely mind-blowing. And that's probably my grandest achievement there, besides, retweets from Kevin Owens, of course, Tama Tonga for my face paint, and of course, just overall, I've never attended an Anime Central. This was supposed to be my first year.
Yeah, same.
This was supposed to be my first year, but then, of course, due to everything going on, it didn't happen. But, it's just my cosplays are basically homemade. I don't have any like crafting experience, none of that stuff. I know how to sew and do things like that, but a lot of my stuff is just glue, paper, printouts, whatever I could get my hands on to make my cosplay the best that I could do it. Am I learning stuff on the side, like especially during this quarantine? Yeah. But over time I'm gonna improve, make my cosplays is the best that I could do. But I think my experiences of cosplaying and all that have just been absolutely superb, and the cosplay community has been nothing but open arms for everybody. So definitely thank you for that.
Definitely. So you know what? I'm gonna let Wildcard. I think he did want to talk a little about some other things before I go about some of my experiences.
Yeah.
I'll let him go on. He may have missed some stuff because of technical difficulty. So go ahead, bro.
Yeah, man. I mean, that's the thing. I would have, I met all you guys at cons. That's the thing.
Yeah.
And the thing that I really enjoy about going to these conventions is that you meet all these like awesome people in the process. like very like-minded, similar interests. I mean, that's how I met all you guys, honestly. And you kind of, the more times you go, the more years you go, you kind of develop this convention like family, because like I'd say a good 95% of my friends right now are from meeting everybody through these conventions, because you meet all these people who have like the similar interests in you, whether it's comics, TV shows, movies, wrestling, video games, and the thing is that the more you go, you kind of see the same people over and over again, and then you just develop that same bond, and especially through cosplay too. I mean, that's just like probably the ultimate icebreaker, especially if you're very timid or shy when it comes to talking to people, because I feel like that's, for me personally, that's kind of it was a way for me to kind of break out of my shell, because surprisingly enough, I was actually quite timid myself, especially prior to going to these, because I was very a little self-conscious about all that I had before. But after going to cons, it's like, okay, I can break out of my shell a little bit more, and then they kind of grew from that. So I figured I'd just share that, just to show you the value of actually going to these things on a regular basis.
Absolutely. So we were gonna do these as two separate segments, but I'll kind of just treat this as one for my portion, because Anime Central does hold a special place into my heart, as that is the first time I have ever cosplayed or been to a convention in general. My first year, I'm a bit of the senior, I guess, of the group. Maybe not the best cosplayer, but I'm kind of like the Mark Henry Big Boss Man type of how long I've been going to these things. I started Anime Central in 2002. I knew about it a little bit in middle school in the late 90s, because I had one buddy who would always go to these things. I'm like, God, I want to go. But I couldn't go until I was a little older, so I finally got to. We did cosplay. It's a bit of an obscure video game, maybe to some. It's called Busta Groove, or in Japan it's known as Busta Move. It's a rhythm and dance game.
Yeah, I know.
I cosplayed as Hitomu. My buddy cosplayed as Keat from the game. And also, we actually entered the Masquerade that year, and we surprisingly won a Judge's Choice Award, which I'll try to find that the video and maybe post that later to the page. But I don't want to go too long. I know I could probably take a full hour of this show, but yeah. I'm sorry, Nico, what's up?
No, I just think that's very cool. Are you guys able to hear me?
Yes.
Yes. Your face is, however, zoomed onto your mouth.
A little bit.
Yeah. Well, it's because I got to hold my phone like this and I can't prop it. Sorry, but yeah.
You look good right now.
You look good, bro. You look good.
Yeah, but I was just gonna say that that's pretty cool that you and your friend won that award, Steve-O, at Anime Central.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah. So that was the one time we did that. We did the Masquerade the year after. We cosplayed from the anime Lupin the Third, if you guys are familiar with that. Yeah. We did a skit. It didn't win any awards, but we still had a lot of fun with that. And just through the years, we did various cosplays. I would meet different groups of people. I met many of my friends through various conventions, be it Acen. I met Wildcard through Acen, and I know I met you guys through Wizard World, EJV, and Nico. I know I met you guys through more of the Comic-Con scene. I'm not into anime as much as I used to be. I still like some, but more of my stuff is probably the comics and video games and wrestling, of course. But yeah, just to kind of recap the other stuff. One of my favorite years of Acen would be probably Acen of 2013, because that's when we started doing the WWE wrestling cosplay shoots. We put it on a Sunday. A lot of people tend to consider Sundays of the cons the dead day, if you will, but it just kept the attendance kept growing each year. And actually the second year, Lisa Marie Veron, who was at Acen just promoting the Squared Circle restaurant, heard of the wrestling photo shoot, and she stopped by, and we were all blown away by her appearance. She's a very nice lady, and anytime you meet her, she's very friendly, very personable, easy to talk to. she participated in the shoot and even let people show their moves on her. So you'll see that a little later in the video package. And just like years after, we just kept doing the WWE Cosplay Day shoots, and just like everyone just kept growing. People had varieties of cosplays, anything from ECW, New Japan, the WWE, of course. You name it, it's there. Bullet Club, of course. And then also just as far as how I cosplay, like I said, I'm not an expert. I don't know how to sew. I've never like created any like serious props. I do stuff more like cardboard. I like to fabric paint. If I'm like, okay, I can't find this shirt online, I'm just gonna create it myself. Just buy a shirt from Goodwill or whatever. I've bought a variety of props from all sorts of places, and so that's pretty much my cosplay experience. And all I would have to say, I can go on for hours on this stuff, but just I love the convention scene. I'm glad to have met the three of you guys, and we formed this awesome group and unite all the wrestling fans and fun cosplayers out there. So I can't be blessful enough for Acen coming into my life.
Combination right there.
Here. Yeah, like to kind of piggyback off of what he was saying, this was supposed to be my first Acen this year. I was supposed to pop my Acen cherry. I was really looking forward to that. I was really looking forward to that. Yeah, I know how that sounds. Shut up. Anyways, I was really looking forward to that. Ian and I both were, because we always hear about how great Acen is and the cool after parties and this and that, and so like we're really looking forward to it. Unfortunately, life has other plans. We're staying positive, and just we're gonna do it next year for Acen, and that's why we're doing this.
If Acen happens again next year, everyone's gonna go on that.
Yep, Sunday at 1 p.m. next year, whatever date Acen is for next year.
Yep. We're gonna take it, and we're gonna take it over, guys, like we always do. And that, boys and girls, is undisputed.
Mm-hmm.
I can't do it either because I'm holding my phone.
So before we get into the next segment, and with that announcement of Anime Central, us returning for WWE Cosplay Day 8 next year at Anime Central 2021, let's have a look back at all the WWE Cosplay Days through the year. Go check it out. right, so those were all the Acen WWE Cosplay Day shoots that happened. We are expected to return next year in 2021 on the Sunday of 1:00 p.m. of Acen for WWE Cosplay Day 8. So we hope to see you all there. And before we get to the next segment, let's talk about some of our favorite conventions and experiences in general. It could be Anime Central, of course, or of course, for those who are ready to pop their Acen cherries, you can talk about your other experiences at the convention scene. Who would like to get this one started off?
I'll go.
Okay.
Yeah, it's gotta be the first year we had a booth. I want to say it's my first convention ever, because when I walked into Wizard World for the very first time, I didn't know what to expect, and it was amazeballs. Yeah, that's a word. But I'm gonna go with the first year we had a Too Sweet Cosplay entrance booth, because I didn't have to pay to get in, so that saved money in my pocket. People are looking at me and they're like, "Hey," yeah, people are looking at me and they're like, "Hey, here's your badge, sir. Like, right this way." Like, I was important and stuff, so that felt pretty cool. And the fact that I got to go early and see everything while we were setting up before the con opened up, and just kind of get the lay of the land and just check out everything. And the cool thing about it, being able to set up the booth with you guys that first year, is just seeing all the other vendors and the friends we made through the cosplay community, with all the other vendors, and just seeing stuff, and having fun horsing around in, like, before everything opened up and before the con officially started. So that's a memory to me. Plus the convention itself, the interaction we had with the Hardy Boys that weekend, and everything, and the photo shoot, our first ever photo shoot that we had. Go check out our pictures on our social media accounts. But that to me was just so overwhelming, just because we were just starting out and we honestly had no idea what to expect. And the way even the Wizard World representatives were coming up to us and saying, "Hey, you guys did awesome," and it was just pretty humbling, and it was an experience that I'll always cherish, remember, and never forget.
Very nice. EJV, how about you, man?
Definitely, I would have to say closest to my heart would have to be, believe it or not, it's going to be 2017 C2E2. The main reason is because that's where the idea first came of Too Sweet Cosplay. That was where me, Andy, Nico, we pitched the idea to each other. We're like, there's never a wrestling cosplay group. Why isn't there? And wrestling's so popular now with New Japan coming up, Ring of Honor doing this. Why haven't we started something like that? And we thought of the idea, and we took that picture of us doing the Too Sweet together, and it sparked something. And then, of course, Andy got us in touch with Steve-O, and then 2018 Wizard World, or 2017 Wizard World, whatever, the whole gambit changed with the booth, with the photo shoot. We had over 35, 40 people turn out, which was a complete shock to the system, no pun intended. It was one of the most mind-blowing experiences I've ever seen in my life. And to be there with that badge around my neck, I never had been more humble in my life to be able to get an opportunity like that. And to be with you guys is one of the best experiences I've ever had. And the next year with Velvet Sky, Austin, and Billy Gunn showing up, which completely blew my mind. Thank you, Nico, for that.
Yeah, thank you.
I was stuck talking to Dreamer. I miss Velvet Sky shaking a box of Booty-O's. Goddamn Dreamer.
but it was such a cool experience to have them over there and do a video for our page and for themselves, and then talking to Billy and Velvet the next year, next year StarCast, and them talking about how much they enjoyed it and how they loved us and how to even recognize us. They're like, "Hey, you guys are from Too Sweet Cosplay," and it was one of the coolest things ever. It was mind blowing. But to wrap it up and to allow Wildcard to have his piece on this, it's just I think Wizard World 2018 or 2017 and C2E2 2017, I think, are the two most integral parts in the history of Too Sweet Cosplay, and the two probably the two best conventions that I've ever been to.
Okay, nice. All right, Wildcard, go for it.
Oh man, where do I even begin with this? So many years, man. It's you'd think that I would remember it all, but think that all the years of cosplaying, that it becomes a blur at some point. But a lot of good memories. I mean, I can't speak highly about about my stuff. Definitely the first year when we did the booth at Wizard World was something that I'll definitely remember the most. Not only did we do that, we kind of made our presence known, but the fact that we also got a chance to be one of the first few to meet the Hardy Boys that year when they at Wizard World. I thought that was probably, to me, and I'm sure you guys would agree too, that that was probably one of the best highlights I've ever had at any other con, just because of the situation at hand. I remember it like there was a huge line for the Hardy Boys. Had we waited in the general admission line, we probably would have had to wait like at least an hour to meet them. But fortunately, with the help of Friends Connection, Nico, of course, with it and got us up there. Combination of that got us to the front of the line, and we were like, I believe, one of the first handful of people to meet the Hardy Boys.
Okay, hold on. Can I? I don't mean to cut you off, Andy, but can I tell that story quick, fast?
Sure. Yeah. What do you got to say, man?
Yeah, no. The story with the Hardy Boys, it went like this. First of all, we got to thank Samantha. I can't remember how to spell her last name.
Levine.
Yeah.
Sammy Levine. She was our liaison for Wizard World that year. She was the one who gave us the booth and the badges and everything. Anyways, the idea was, okay, we know it's going to be a massive line for the Hardys. Let's all go. Now, usually Wizard World only allows a maximum of up to 3 other people minus the person who bought the ticket, so like 4 people total. At the time, there were 6 of us in the group, so we all run up to the front, and I'm like, hey, I get to go to the front of the line because of the chair. Unfortunately, just because of the chair, but fortunately, because I get to go to the front of the line. So yay and nay. But anyways, I go to the front of the line. I said, hey, can me and my group get in for this photo? They were doing test shots because the Hardys had just arrived. They were not going to let us all in because, like I said, it's only a maximum of up to 4 people with the photos. But Sammy, our liaison at the time, was like, hey, this is my group that I specifically brought in for Wizard World this year. Let them do it quick, fast. They did. We got an awesome photo with the Hardys. Matt's like, what the hell do we got going on over here? The whole biz quiz, which is pretty cool. Matt and Jeff were super nice. Take an awesome photo. Okay, apparently only my nose is being shown. I'm trying to hold it.
That's better, yes.
Working on my phone. Died. I apologize. But anyways, it was just an awesome, cool moment and a cool memory.
Yes.
Especially after the fact, because the picture was great. Like I said, the Hardy Boys gave us a shout out on Twitter and social media and Instagram. I was on Jeff Hardy's personal Facebook page, and to me, that's a moment I'll never forget. Matt Hardy called us a wonderful, delightful tribe, which to me was the ultimate compliment, because that was our first year of doing Wizard World, and to me, that was the ultimate compliment. It truly was.
Yeah, I mean, it's just moments like that. Everything just kind of played, really well for us too. So I definitely will remember that year as like one of my favorite moments, throughout like any con that I've been to. But in terms of actual conventions, like what my favorite may be, I'm gonna have to say at the top of the list, you got to go with C2E2 on this. C2E2, like one of the largest cons in the Chicago area. It is like amazing, especially if you're really into any kind of like comic, pop culture, video games, whatever. You got to go to it, especially if you've never been before. I highly recommend that you go to C2E2. Not to discredit any of the other Comic Cons in the area, but I feel like that they they basically are the mecca right now of Comic Chicagoland area. But Acen also is definitely one of my top favorites as well. Just because it's a great time to just kind of just hang out and cosplay, party it up if you're into that thing. So, there's just so many different memories that I've had. Very good memories, mixed memories, but for the most part, it's just been a huge part of my life personally, and it's never going to get old for me. I think this is something that I can do for quite a long time. So I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, you're stuck with me. Sorry, Andy.
Yeah.
So yeah, before we get to the next segment, I'll share a little bit of my convention experience. First off, yeah, Wizard World 2017, you can't beat that. Having our own wrestling cosplay booth, kind of getting our name out there with the wrestling entrance set. Just having, just a lot of people getting creative with their entrances, having a good time, lots of laughs. It was pretty awesome with that, so you can't beat that. And then, meeting the Hardy Boys. I've met Matt prior to that. That was my first time meeting Jeff, so that was a great experience. They're both very cool dudes, very, very laid back. Even 2018, having Billy Gunn, Velvet Sky come to our booth, that was amazing. And also Austin Gunn, Billy's son. Yeah, just them going wild, creating some awesome video moments. Billy playing the role of Triple H, having all those titles on him. And yeah, just like all the C2E2s, they've been great. Just 2019, we had a booth, and that was a lot of fun with our entrance sets and everything, and then just doing the 2 panels this year in 2020. God bless this. Them having a con in 2020, I was a little skeptical about a February convention, but to have it before this pandemic happened.
Yeah, I'll just point something out here because prior to this pandemic even happening, a lot of people were complaining that C2E2 was too early this year.
Oh,
what do you got?
I remember that everyone was losing their minds. I don't mean to cut you off, but everybody and their grandmother was losing their minds for an entire year about, oh my God, it's too cold, it's too early. It's like, people, it's Chicago. It's always cold. We get every single weather.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my God.
The organizer of C2E2, I'm just going to give you a bow here.
Reed Pop, we're bowing to you on that one. I'm trying to bow, but I don't want to fall out of my wheelchair. But
and then I'll share just a few other quick ones. Like almost every year, it's very rare I'd have a bad experience at a con. But just like Anime Central 2002, shout out for it being the first time I've ever been to a con, and of course just having winning a masquerade like. Just the first year I even decided, hey, I'll throw a cosplay together. And then just also 2013 being the first WWE Cosplay Day in general. 2014, Lisa Marie Verone showing up. And then all the subsequent years after, all the WWE Cosplay Days continuing to grow in attendance. The 2-week cosplay shoots will always get some very good attendance too at C2E2 Wizard World. And I'm just going to quickly shout out New York Comic Con 2014. I met the Hurricane. I was in my Hurricane cosplay. We took a photo together, and he actually shared it on his Twitter. So that was a very memorable moment. He was a very cool, easygoing guy. And then one convention. Just kind of to wrap things up. I just say C2E2, one of the best Comic Cons in the Illinois, but do check out their sister con, New York Comic Con, if you ever get an opportunity. That one's amazing. And then been to San Diego Comic Con once. That's also amazing. You have to go in a couple of lines, but you get to meet a lot of people for free at those if you are patient. Like I met voice actors from the 2012 Ninja Turtles show, some Cartoon Network voice actors, etc. But yeah, I appreciate all the people out there in the cosplay and convention community. Made lots of great friends. Made friends with you guys. I can't be grateful enough. That's really all I gotta say.
Exactly, man. Hey, the cosplay and the con community has saved my mental health in more ways than one. I kid you not. C2E2 this year was a prime example. You guys know what was going on with me and my health. Physically, I had to have a operation moved up that day, the first day of C2E2, and I was not going to miss C2E2 regardless. I ran into some physical problems that entire weekend. Thank God for my brothers, Andy and Ezra, for helping me. Also, Don, who's a good brother of ours, for helping me out that weekend and saving my ass. Even though Ezra and Andy wanted to trade mask and fight with each other while I'm mid air, like, really, guys, like.
Got any kind of footage of that. That was just hilarious.
No, thank God we don't have any kind of footage of that because that was very embarrassing. Like,
yeah.
Andy freaking stabbed me in the head with the damn bird mask beak from Ezra's Marty Skrull mask, and like I'm like, ow. But no,
they didn't even have anything to drink that night too, and all that went down. So
right, we didn't even drink and all that went down. But yeah, without the cosplay and the Comic-Con community, in general, I don't know who I would be because, like Andy said earlier, in the show here, 90% of my friends now that I interact with are people that I've met with, or excuse me, people that I've met due to comic conventions. So I'm very humbled and I'm very blessed and I'm very grateful.
Very nice. And now to get to the final segment of today's show, we're going to talk about something that's not WWE, something quite the opposite. We're going to talk about New Japan Pro Wrestling. So myself, I don't have as much experience, but the other three gentlemen know a little bit more about it. If it's okay with you guys, I'm just going to give you my brief thoughts on the topics, and then I'll let you guys take over from there. Is that okay?
That's fine with me.
All right, cool. So my knowledge is very small. The first pay-per-view I watched in full was actually at the Bar Replay in Lincoln Park. I think it was Headquarters Beercade at the time. Don't quote me on that, but there's a Chicago wrestling group called Rainmaker Watch Parties that hosted the event, and I believe the first match I saw there was Kenny Omega versus Okada, one of the key matches. Great match, very amazing, great Wrestle Kingdom. So as far as some of my favorite wrestlers from, like, some of my former New Japan wrestlers that were some of my favorites, of course, Finn Balor, AJ Styles, they're great. I also really have come to really like Shinsuke Nakamura, who's come over from Japan to the WWE. One of my current favorite Bullet Club member would be Tama Tonga, from New Japan, who's not made it to the WWE or AEW for that matter yet. And then some other wrestlers I like from New Japan. I would say I really like Will Ospreay. I do like Okada himself. I do like the reinvention of CJ Parker to Juice Robinson. I think that's awesome that he's making a big name for himself, which, he didn't really do too much in NXT and didn't even make it to the main roster. I'm going to let you guys take over the rest. Like, we're going to talk about dream matches as well. But to start it off, I'm going to let EJV. He's wearing the Los Incognitables shirt. We'll have him start it off, and then we'll kind of pass it along about our New Japan wrestling talk.
All right, thanks, Steve-O. I first started watching New Japan, like, in full, like, watching full time, probably late 2016. I heard about New Japan mainly through the Young Bucks in Ring of Honor. That's when I really started paying attention to Bullet Club and New Japan, and really started to take notice of New Japan and what's going on there. And I slowly started to learn about Gallows, or I knew about Gallows through his time in WWE and in TNA, but knew about the team of Gallows and, of course, the Machine Gun Carl Anderson. Started to learn about Tama Tonga, Okada, Tanahashi, Naito, all the top stars of New Japan. But I really started watching. I think it was the first or second Okada Omega match at Wrestle Kingdom, and that was the first one I ever watched one of the first matches I ever watched, and then I started watching full time around the time that Will Ospreay was really starting to make a name for himself in New Japan, and paying attention to him. Really, I have some of my favorite matches come from all different sorts, all the different divisions. You know, like my favorite tag team match was, I believe it was War Machine, Guerrillas of Destiny, and Killer Elite Squad for the IWGP heavyweight tag belts. That was physical, violent war. That probably one of my favorite tag team matches in New Japan. Of course, my favorite junior heavyweight match recently would have to be the Fatal 4-Way from Wrestle Kingdom 12. Ospreay, Hiromu, Marty, and Kushida, in what was an amazing affair. And then, of course, my favorite singles match right now is Shingo versus Ospreay from the Best of the Super Junior Finals, 2019, last year. That was my match of the year. No offense to Adam Cole and Johnny Gargano, but my former wrestler from New Japan would have to be. I would have to go with. I'd have to go with AJ Styles. AJ, of course, known for I've watched him since his early TNA days, but he really reinvented himself in Bullet Club, where he really just reinvented his whole image, his character, and I think he just really just elevated himself as a performer. My favorite current non-Bullet Club member, that is a tough one because I'm a huge fan of Okada. I'm a huge fan of Naito, evidenced by the Los Ingobernables de Japón shirt. But if I had to pick one, I would say it would be, and this is kind of I'd probably have to say, I'd probably go with Hiromu Takahashi. And that's kind of what I know a little bit outside the box, but Hiromu is one of he is truly dynamite in the box. One of the best athletically gifted guys out there. Takes his body to the next level when it comes to matches. I think since now he can recover from that neck injury, he's back and better than ever. Favorite Bullet Club member, it's easy. The guy I cosplay pretty much almost as much as anybody else, and that's the bad boy Tama Tonga. And that's because of his he's a lightning rod of personality. He's a walking Twitter pipe bomb, for Pete's sakes. The guy can make you hate him or love him in seconds flat. And also he's just true about everything. And he's probably, like they say, he is the best defensive wrestler on the roster, period. And probably as far as the dream match goes, especially since the rumors coming around that Carl Anderson and Gallows are on their way back to New Japan soon. Man, there's a lot of good tag teams in there. I'd love to see them face, man. I'd love to see them versus Golden Ace, Kota Ibushi, and Hiroshi Tanahashi. Man, that would be a good one. I'd love to see him against Finjuice. That would be another great matchup. And then another one I think would be, I would love to see Okada versus Jon Moxley. That would be one hell of a war there between them guys. But yeah, that's kind of my rundown of my history of watching New Japan and getting to know the product. And I'm going to pass the baton over to Mr. Wildcard.
Okay. All right. I guess I'll take it from here. So my knowledge of New Japan, I'll be honest, is not as extensive compared to Ezra's there. But I know a decent amount, I'd say, because I'd say I started watching New Japan, coincidentally enough, when the formation of Bullet Club happened. When Prince Devitt, also known as Finn Balor, and Tama Tonga, Carl Anderson, and Bad Luck Fale, when they formed Bullet Club on May 3rd of 2013, I believe it was. And, that's when I guess that my interest started to peak, because I heard of New Japan prior to all that. I just was not familiar with a lot of the wrestlers in the roster at the time. But I think just with with the Bullet Club storyline happening, it kind of sparked my interest, especially with the gradual additions to the faction, especially with AJ Styles joining the group, the Young Bucks, and so on and so on. And then I started to just watch a little bit more like New Japan, and I'm just like, oh wow, I actually like the quality of it, because they really focus a lot more on the wrestling as opposed to like the storylines. I just kind of just felt like with everything that they do, it's just the complete opposite of what WWE does, or any kind of promotion, especially in America. So I thought it was just something different to really look forward to, and it was just to me that was very unique. But in terms of my favorite like former wrestler of New Japan, maybe is of course, I got to go with the man Kenny Omega, because he was the one who really kind of got his career like skyrocketed, especially since he joined Bullet Club, became a winner. And especially with his matches with Okada, I mean, that's really what drew me to the actual company and allowed me to explore. Okay, let's see who else is on New Japan. Maybe there's a lot more good talent to watch out for. And also to answer the question of current non-Bullet Club member, I got to go with Will Ospreay on this. Will Ospreay is like probably one of the best high flyers in the game. If you've never seen him wrestle, you have got to look this guy up, because he is probably one of the best high flyers in wrestling today. I swear, just imagine what he'd be like if he were in WWE. I mean, that's just insane, especially with like matches he may have with guys like Ricochet. Can you imagine that? I mean, that is like already
you can look
at
their matches in Japan.
And also to answer the question of a favorite Bullet Club member right now, that's a tough one. That's like basically asking a parent who their favorite child is. There's so much to many members to go down the list. I mean, Kenny Omega, the Young Bucks, of course you got Balor and AJ Styles, but if I had to really think about it, I'm gonna have to go with Tama Tonga on this. He stayed true to his roots. He's kept the club going for a long time, and he's still with them to this day. And he and his brother Tangaloa is the epitome of what Bullet Club is to this day. So that's just kind of my spiel on that. So, but in terms of like matches that dream matches possibly, I honestly don't really have one. I guess if Kenny Omega were to ever go back to Japan, I think that would be amazing, and I would love to see him wrestle just anybody on the roster. Maybe another round of matches with Okada would be too. So, or since I was speaking of Ospreay, how about him and Will Ospreay? How about that?
Yeah. I just want to throw out really quick, I really hope maybe AEW and New Japan do form a partnership in the future after this coronavirus nonsense is done. I would really love to see a dream crossover between the two promotions.
Definitely. Absolutely.
Right, so Nico. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Nico here.
Yeah, okay. To like Ezra, I kind of got submerged into New Japan around the same time as E did. I started hearing about Bullet Club on like wrestling Twitter and like social media. I'm like, okay, what's Bullet Club? I looked it up and it was like, oh, okay. Wait, but I heard of New Japan in the promo that in the pipe bomb promo that Punk cut back in 2011. But then I started going down the internet rabbit hole to learn more about the history. I found out that as soon as Brock Lesnar left WWE for the first time in 2004, he went to New Japan first, and he became the IWGP World Champ. And he actually had a match with a young Shinsuke Nakamura, which I thought was pretty cool. Which I thought was pretty cool. And then I started learning more about the history, the G1 tournament, about how Hulk Hogan actually had a match with the Great Muta. The Undertaker once appeared in the G1 way back when. You got guys like Chris Jericho, Eddie Guerrero as Tiger Mask, Chris Benoit. Don't really care how people feel about him as a person. He was a great wrestler, but the Pegasus Kid in New Japan, great wrestling matches there. And so then that's when I started learning about, Japanese strong style wrestling and kind of got submerged into what New Japan Pro Wrestling is all about. Hearing all the buzz of Prince Devitt or Fergal Devitt, now known to the wrestling world as Finn Balor, coming over from from New Japan to the WWE. So that kind of piqued my interest a little bit as well. And then looking up guys and like Shinsuke Nakamura and seeing the matches that him and AJ Styles had, seeing AJ Styles debut in New Japan right after Prince Devitt leaves New Japan was such a pretty cool moment in wrestling. And just so that's to kind of piggyback what Alpha everyone was saying, just the whole style and the vibe of New Japan. They treat it as if like it's a real sport, like everything you've got to earn it. They talk about that Japanese strong style. You literally have to earn it in when you're in there wrestling every single time, and then you learn more about guys like Owen Hart, and other former legendary wrestlers that had a time in Japan that wrestled in New Japan or All Japan Pro Wrestling. I'm kind of combining the two because of just similar areas and stuff. But to answer who my favorite Bullet Club member of all time is, um, I'm gonna go with AJ Styles. I think he's the best wrestler on the planet. I consider AJ to be better than Kenny Omega. No, I'm not taking anything away from Kenny Omega. I love Kenny Omega. He's an awesome human being in and outside the ring. But I think AJ Styles is the better wrestler on account of you could put him in there with a broken broomstick and he'll have a 5-star match with that person. 6-star if it's in Japan, because we all know Dave Meltzer likes to rate New Japan way above everybody else, even when we're kind of confused of like, okay, why? But whatever. If
Might
it's
even
in
be
Japan,
7 stars if it's in the Tokyo Dome.
oh yeah, that's right, that's right. I mean, I could wrestle a blow up doll, and Dave Meltzer will give me 7 stars just as long as it's in the Tokyo Dome. But I digress. Um, But yeah, I mean, I think AJ Styles is the best wrestler on the planet still to this day. And when he was in New Japan, the matches that he had with Okada, I think they kind of get thrown under the, I think they get forgotten about just because of the trilogy of matches between Okada and Omega. Uh, like I said, not taking anything away from Kenny, not taking anything away from Okada, but me being, an American or a gaijin, as they say. Uh, did I say that properly? I want to make sure I got that right.
Yes. Yep,
Yeah.
you got it.
I'm just trying to be very respectful. Seeing AJ Styles, because I knew who he was from his time in TNA, go there and succeed and be the best wrestler on the planet was pretty cool. So that's why AJ's always been my favorite former New Japan wrestler. As for current, it's a tie between Will Ospreay and Kota Ibushi. Go watch their match that they had at Wrestle Kingdom. I want to say that was Wrestle Kingdom 12. That was last year, right? 2019. Wasn't that wasn't that 2019?
Yeah, that was last year.
Yeah. If you really want to see the style of modern of how New Japan Wrestling, pro wrestling works now, watch that match. I mean, that to me, that was match of the year for 2019, and that match took place on January 4th of 2019. So, I mean, what does that tell you? So it's a tie of current wrestlers of who my favorite now between in New Japan between Kota Ibushi and Will Ospreay. Hopefully, one of those two become IWGP World Heavyweight Champion in the future. As for my favorite Bullet Club member, it's a tie between Tama Tonga. We all love Tama, just because of how real the guy is, and the man really is funny as hell. He does got that Twitter strong style on lock, and he's actually a really nice guy. If you ever get to meet him in person, we all love Tama. I was hoping that when the BCOGs kicked out the elite of the Bullet Club, that Tama would have got a bit of a singles run. He chose to stick in the tag team division. I respect that fully. I understand why he wanted to go that route and why New Japan management wanted to go that route. I totally respect that. But I think Tama would get a great run as a singles competitor. I think he could have been a world champion just because how he does wrestle and how he can talk on the mic and captivate you with his personality. But if not Tama, then I love that Kenta is in New Japan and is with the Bullet Club. I didn't expect him to turn heel, but I just thought it was super cool. I love his Bullet Club T-shirt, the Go to Sleep Club, and so
Which you can
for
get
my
on
favorite,
.com.
yeah, get that at ProWrestlingTees.com. All your wrestling T-shirt needs, ProWrestlingTees.com. All right, that's my spiel.
Okay. All right, and a wild card. I know you said you wanted to say something else.
Yeah. Well, actually, now that Nico was talking about Tama Tonga, I have a quick story about Tama, and I'm sure you guys know about it.
Yeah, this is gonna be good.
This happened at All In, the very first All In. That was I believe that was like that 2 years ago. Yeah, 3 years ago. It was like a few years ago.
2018.
Long story short, I took a piss next to the man. So that's my story right
there. Is this a PG story?
Yeah. Not PG, but I was gonna say, but he was cool. I was just like, we were just like, hey, what's up, man? How you doing? And all that. But I could say, hey, I pissed next to Tama Tonga right there. So, anyway, I just wanted to share that. More details later, but guess what? But I also wanted to point out also something that Nico was mentioning too when talking about AJ Styles. And I think this is something that we all can agree on here too. I just want to leave it at this. This is just paraphrasing what Paul Heyman said in a promo that he did after a match that he had with Brock Lesnar at Survivor Series. If you're not an AJ Styles fan, you shouldn't even be watching wrestling.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
Right there.
And before we end the show, since we've been talking about Tama Tonga, might as well go ahead and talk about his for a moment. He's got a new podcast, guys.
Yes.
Yeah, it's called Tama's Island, where he interviews guests and all stuff like any other podcast. But it's pretty cool because it's real, 100% real. There's no BS about it. He tells great stories. Last episode, he told about his run as a young lion in New Japan. Go check it out, guys. On iTunes, Spotify, all that good stuff. Tama's Island.
I will. I'm actually gonna watch that as soon as we're done. I'm actually gonna start listening to that as soon as we're done wrapping this up here. Thanks for telling me.
Nice.
I got a bit of a funny Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa story as well. During All In One back in 2018, Ezra and I bought the meet and greet to meet Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa. We said we'll split the photo up, whatever. We both wore our Too Sweet Cosplay T-shirts. As soon as we come up to Tama gives us Too Sweet and he gives us the nod. I was like, hey, that's what's up. So the fact that one of the Bullet Club OGs, as Bullet Club was kind of the inspiration somewhat of behind Too Sweet Cosplay, gave us the nod of approval, was pretty cool. And I actually met Tonga Loa.
Yeah.
I actually met Tonga Loa way before his time in New Japan. Back when he was in the WWE, I never knew that he was Camacho. I don't know if people remember Camacho and who. Yeah, Camacho and who was the second Sin Cara in WWE. When they had the Cholo biker gang, me being Latin, Mexican, Hispanic, I'm familiar with that culture. And so when I was meeting Hunigo and Camacho, I was speaking to Hunigo in Spanish. And then when I talked to Camacho, he immediately came up to me. He's like, hey, how are you, man? Super polite, super cool dude. Fast forward to 2018, when somebody told me, hey, Tungalo was actually Camacho on WWE? I was like, no shit. So when I ran up to Tama and Tungaloa, I got to talk to Tungaloa for a split second privately on the side, and I actually told him, hey, I met you a few years ago back when you were in WWE as Camacho. He's like, oh yeah, hey, what's up? He's like, I fucking hated that character, jokingly. He laughed about it, and then we took a great photo of all of us. It's me, Ezra, Tamatanga, Tangaloa, and Haku, and we're flipping off the camera. It's a great photo. It's a little blurry because of the lighting, but it's still one of my favorite pictures. One of my favorite memories. Tamatanga and Tangaloa, the Gorillas of Destiny, God, super cool dudes. One of the best tag teams in all of pro wrestling today. One of my favorites. So yeah, that's my story.
Very nice. So yeah, lots of great cosplay memories, lots of great New Japan talk, and yeah, Nico, with you bringing up the Hulk Hogan matches in Japan, you should go on YouTube and look it up. I mean, you can have your own opinions on Hulk Hogan, but he actually put on some pretty impressive stuff in Japan at that time.
I'm not gonna lie. I don't mean to cut you off there, Steve-O, but when I knew that for this episode we were gonna talk about New Japan Pro Wrestling, I started watching some old NJPW matches just in case we started talking about them, and I saw again Hulk Hogan versus the Great Muta. I don't remember. I want to say it was 94. Could be wrong. I don't remember the exact year, but I think it might have been in the G1. But anyways, it's Hulk Hogan versus Great Muta. What more do you need to know? Great match. Hulk Hogan can go, guys. Back then, say what you want about Hulk Hogan. Oh, he's the WWE carbon copy, this and that, blah blah blah. He's a manipulator, whatever. I'm telling you right now, watch some of his New Japan stuff. Hogan can go. He can do his thing.
Yeah. One more thing I want to add is we were talking about New Japan matches, old school matches, watching them for this type of thing. For anybody who wants to watch a lot of these matches now have English commentary thanks to New Japan World and thanks to former WWE announcer and Ring of Honor announcer Kevin Kelly, who is also the head play-by-play guy in New Japan for English commentary with Rocky Romero, Chris Charlton, and Gino Gambino. They redid a lot of those matches and redid it with English commentary. So if you want to see classic matches involving Hulk Hogan, involving Great Muta, or Nakanishi or whoever, you can watch them, and they'll have English commentary. Just go to njpwworld.com and sign up.
And actually, you guys, it's cheaper than the WWE Network if you think about it. Yeah, I know it's in yen, but if you convert it from yen to American dollars, it actually is cheaper monthly than New Japan World is than WWE Network. So please check it out. You get all their pay-per-views. You get all the old stuff like Ezra mentioned. It's totally worth it.
All righty. Yeah, so with all these great New Japan memories and cosplay convention memories, I'd say this was a great look back at all those memories. I know right now we're a little limited on what we can do with this quarantine statewide. So I'm just glad that we all got to meet together today and discuss some of these great memories. And I'm thankful for all the people who did tune in to check out our show. Next episode, we're going to actually be talking about AEW's Double or Nothing. So stay tuned for that. We're trying to get a more variety of talk in our shows, and I hope that you guys are looking forward to it. Please leave any feedback as well as any of your thoughts of favorite New Japan matches in the comments section as well.
Yeah. Next week we're gonna give you our predictions for AEW Double or Nothing.
Oh, not next week. Next episode, because the pay-per-view's this Saturday.
yeah. Double or Nothing is this coming Saturday. We're hoping to do the episode. We can have it uploaded before Saturday. So check it out. Look out for it. We're gonna give you our predictions for AEW Double or Nothing, and we're also gonna talk about the legacy of legendary Owen Hart, the Rocket, the Black Heart, whatever you want to call him, Owen Hart, the Blue Blazer, one of the best professional wrestlers ever. He has a Dark Side of the Ring episode coming up this coming Tuesday on Vice TV. I would recommend, if you would like, to check out Talk Is Jericho podcast. His widow, Martha Hart, did a very rare interview that was really good. I will openly admit I'll talk more about it in the next episode, but I was kind of a bit of judgmental towards Martha Hart with everything that happened in regards to Owen, but hearing her tell her side of things a little bit, I gained a little bit more of respect and understanding from her, from where she's coming from. Please check that out. Watch Dark Side of the Ring and then listen to our podcast next week as we discuss not only Double or Nothing predictions and what we think might happen with Double or Nothing and the remainder of AEW, but also as we talk about the legacy of the great Owen Hart.
Definitely. But that's it for today's show, guys. We thank you guys for watching this video. Thank you guys for watching our past episodes. Of course, don't forget to like all of our Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram pages at 2Sweet Cosplay.
Yep, and make sure you do subscribe to our YouTube channel. Give it a like if you enjoyed it, and leave some feedback on what you want to see or hear more of from us as well.
Comments.
Yeah, definitely open to trying to improve the podcast as much as we can. So whatever suggestions you guys have, just send them our way.
Yep, definitely. And we hope everybody continues to stay safe out there. We hope you guys have a good week. And may Double or Nothing and may the rest of the wrestling week be nothing short of too sweet.
All right. Peace out, y'all.
Later.